So we'll move to our 610 item, which is consideration of a request for board direction regarding establishment of an ad hoc committee for development of agricultural road standards. And I'll turn it over to Director Turner.
Thank you, Mireya Turner, Community Development Director. When the state started working on cannabis policy to legalize this industry, they referred to it as commercial cannabis to differentiate it from illegal cannabis. This terminology has proven to be kind of confusing as jurisdictions were grappling with their own local regulations. And in particular, it was it meant something to deem it a commercial activity in regards to 4290 and 4291 road standards. And so there was confusion about assigning commercial road standards to what is essentially an agricultural road, similar to the roads we have in our vineyards and our orchards. In 2019, the board addressed this confusion, resulting in a resolution that recognized cannabis as a commercial agricultural activity and a commercial agricultural product, and exempted it from commercial road standards as pertains to 4290 and 4291. During that discussion, they were limited to passing this or adopting this resolution specific to cannabis, because the wording on the agenda did not allow for additional flexibility. But during that hearing, the board expressed significant interest in assembling an ad hoc committee with agricultural stakeholders to talk about developing road standards that would be specific to agriculture. That was in 2019. So today, since we are working on updating the cannabis regulations, it's appropriate and timely to bring this back to the board to see if the board still wants to direct staff to compile or get together a working group or ad hoc committee specific to agricultural stakeholders, including fire districts, Farm Bureau. There's some other groups here that were mentioned during that board hearing, in order to work up a recommendation for road standards specific to agricultural roads. Sorry, Supervisor Owen, you have your finger up.
Oh, I was just, when you're done.
Okay. I didn't want to be
No,
rude.
you're fine, I'm sorry.
So that is before you today. Staff does recommend that this would be considered a working group compiled for one specific reason and let go after that reason. It would be an internal, or it would be a work group assembled by the Community Development Department with the categories as desired by the board. That one would not be compliant or subject to the Brown Act. It would result in recommendations that would then go to the Ag Advisory Committee, the Planning Commission, and the board in a draft ordinance format through noticed public hearings. And that's my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, we'll go with Supervisor Owen first.
Okay. You know what? I did a little homework on it, and I've contacted a few of the fire marshals or the fire chiefs, actually. I actually contacted 3 and talked to each and every one of them about it. We thought that it might be easier if we put this into the ag committee that we have currently going. It's pretty well the representation is from all walks. So I think that they could handle that without putting together a separate ag ad hoc committee. And I asked if they would be interested in having a representative there for us to have input, and they were. They thought it was a great idea. And actually, Mr. Mike Wink's the one that thought putting it in the ag committee rather than doing an additional ad hoc would probably work really well. And we could move forward, and that way we're skipping a process as well, instead of forming a whole new committee. There's already one in place.
I have zero skin in this game. This was just a start based on the hearing, but in 2019, which was actually a different board. So I'm open to however the board wants to direct me to follow up on this.
Supervisor Sabatier?
I appreciate you bringing this. This is one of the promises that we've not held on to. We had long discussions. At the time, it was Supervisor Simon, myself, Anita Grant, and many fire chiefs throughout the county that met to really hash out what 4290 meant when it came to cannabis. And I think you hit the nail on the head. The word commercial was what was really throwing everybody for a loop, where this is about buildings. That's what 4290, it's about the protection of buildings, not roads to plants or roads to nowhere. So once they do construct buildings within a outdoor area, then 4290 does come into compliance, but agriculture is nowhere to be found in 4290 because it's about buildings and protection of buildings. So eventually we were able to negotiate, and that's where we said, look, we won't continue arguing about this because we couldn't stop arguing about it. They were stuck on the commercial. And we said, let's just create a road standard for ag. Nothing arduous, nothing that would be an overreach. And we got some examples of other communities that have those, and they're, I think, easy to abide to. I don't mind it going to the ag advisory, but I would suggest you meet with the Farm Bureau and you meet with the fire chiefs, hash out a idea of a ordinance or an amendment to it, and then bring that to the ag advisory, because building it at the ag advisory is going to take many, many months. And I don't feel you need our permission, that was weird, our permission to meet with the fire chiefs and the Farm Bureau to hash out a concept of an ordinance, and then, because building it by committee is just going to lead to another 6 months or more of meetings, and I don't want you to be stuck in those types of meetings. So hopefully that is a possible direction, but I think this is something that we put into our resolution that was passed, that we were going to do this, and I'm really happy that we're finally talking about it, because we need to follow through with what we promised.
I did bring this up at the last Fire Chiefs Association meeting, and yet they do want to at least review it.
Supervisor Pyska?
Yeah, thanks for bringing this. We've had a lot of conversations about it over the years. I am also concerned about this being able to be put together at the Ag Advisory Committee, because that committee only meets, we put a limit, like no more than twice a year, because all those folks are so busy and there's quorum issues and stuff. So I want to support you on how you best want to accomplish this. And if it is this ad hoc committee, or if it is meeting separately with all these people, because it's more than one meeting. And I think whatever you come up with, obviously will go before the ag committee and the planning commission before it comes to us. But I think just putting it at the ag committee is not gonna, I think there's more work that needs to go into it before that.
The Agricultural Committee does have a regularly scheduled meeting on November 27th. So I could have these meetings with the fire chiefs and with the Farm Bureau, and then have something that's a little more of a first draft for the Ag Committee to take a look at.
Yeah, that's good. And then the other, we've talked about fire, public safety, but we haven't talked about our roads department and how they would work into this too.
I did speak with Director Ewing, and he is cognizant of this moving ahead. However, there is not a scheduled update to the road design standards at this time, and so this ordinance would be sort of a standalone specific to agricultural roads that would get integrated into the Lake County road design standards when that update did take place.
Supervisor Owen, did you have something else?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
When I was speaking with the fire chiefs the last couple of days, they had all kind of felt the 4290 and 4291 standards. The question was where the lines were going to be drawn as far as how much traffic, and if they're bringing semis in and out, and what the usage of the road was more of the argument. But the standard sounded like that was what they were wanting to be able to get in.
And we can make sure that it's clearly defined that
And
the
that's what
level
they were
of
looking for.
activity and the machinery that's used is similar to what we find in the wine industry or the walnut orchards during harvest.
Go ahead, Supervisor Sabatier.
I feel I neglected and also inviting our ag commissioner as well. I said Farm Bureau, but
Certainly.
Yeah.
Catherine can't get out of this. I'll track her down.
he loves it.
And where I fall, I don't think we need an ad hoc. I think that you can work on that and meet with the folks such as the fire departments, the ag commissioner, our public works. You can bring put a working draft together and then run that by the ag committee for any feedback before it ends up coming back. I'd be comfortable with that. I don't think we need another committee to form and bring more folks in. We already know who the players are essentially that we need to talk to, and I think that's what I would be comfortable with.
Awesome.
Okay. So if there's nothing further from the board, I'll go ahead and open this up to the public. And seeing one in the room, come on up, state your name, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Good morning, Chair Rasmussen and members of the board. My name is Tom Lasik. I think there's been a mischaracterization of what 4290 actually involves. If you actually look at the regulation from the state minimum fire safety, I forgot what the whole acronym, there's 2 parts to this that are relevant. One is that the road and historically what's been going on with cannabis is that CDD has only been evaluated in 4290 that's on the property line. But the ordinance actually requires that the roads leading to the property also have to be assessed for 4290 compliance. And historically that has not been done. And this has been brought to the Planning Commission's attention and to CDD's attention by Mr. Wink back in June.
Mr. Lasik, just want to be clear that we're only discussing today that whether or not we're going to form an ad hoc.
Understood. So the misrepresentation there is that there is an exception within the 4290 for ag roads. But if you read that exception, and I just want you to be clear so you see if you're going to be wasting your time on a committee, is that it has to be used solely for ag. We have a lot of roads that agriculture uses, but they're not used solely for ag. So if you have a road, say, Spruce Grove Road, you might want to consider that to be ag, but as soon as there's something there that's not ag.
I think we're getting off topic on what our decision is today.
Right.
And
I would
that-
advise then not to have a committee. I would advise that you take a look at the ordinance clearly, and I think you'll find that it probably isn't worth the effort. There's at least 3 insurmountable roadblocks to that challenge. And one is the definition of what's required, the definition of the exception, and the definition by the state. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further in the room? And do we have anything online, Johanna? We have Rebecca, go ahead and unmute and you'll have 3 minutes.
Thanks. This is Rebecca with Lake County Farm Bureau. I just wanted to confirm that LCFB would be more than willing to engage in a meeting or a series of meetings with fire representatives to get something drafted and then move that through the appropriate channels. So yeah, if you need our help, just go ahead and reach out to us, Maria, and we would be happy to engage.
Awesome.
Thank you. Anything further online, Johanna? No, and we have Director Ewing, so go ahead and give him the floor.
Lars Ewing, Interim Public Works Director, just to basically piggyback off of that with Public Works involvement for this, in particular as it relates to public roads that would ultimately be non-county maintained, but still public. Public Works has the responsibility to review those for compliance with the current road standards, and so it would be certainly important that we are included in that. Mireya and I have had that conversation, so I look forward to that. And in as much as the current road standards there has been a movement afoot years ago to update them. We have, from what I've seen in my last couple of months with Public Works, there's some good work that we can work from to update the road standards. So it might be an opportunity to embed that ag standard included into the road design standards rather than a standalone ordinance simplistically for or solely for ag roads. So I think that's something that we may be able to work toward. Thank you.
Thank you. And seeing no further public comment, I'll bring it back to the board. And it sounded like we had a consensus, unless there's anything further from the board at this point. And seeing none, do you have any questions for us
Nope,
or
I think I'm clear.
clarifications?
I got to get busy.
All right, thank you. We'll go ahead and close this item.
Thank you,
Sure.
Maria.